G'day and welcome to ReDriven. Now look, we are all about cars that get your blood pumping, that are about the passion and romance and love of driving, but unfortunately many of those cars are rarely practical, they're not very sensible, and they can be pretty unreliable. Which brings us to this, the Toyota Kluger, or potentially the Highlander, depending on where you're watching this from. This thing, when new, was all about embracing the more boring aspects of driving. Forget about getting your blood pumping. These things were all about just getting you, your kids, their friends, and heaps of their stuff from like here to over there somewhere as efficiently and effectively as possible. But now that these are quite a few years old and have many thousands of kilometers on them, are they still worthy of lugging you and your loved ones across the countryside? What goes wrong with them? Can you live with them every day? How much do they cost to own or operate? And most importantly, should you buy one? Let's find out. Now, before we get deep into the Kluger, can you please do us a favor and hit those like, subscribe, and bell icon buttons? And hey, why not go and follow us on all the socials as well? Now, as I mentioned at the start of the video, if you're watching this from outside of Australia, this is a Toyota Highlander. And look, in this video, we will be focusing on the Australian variants of the Kluger. But if you're not from Australia, don't freak out, because everything we're going to be going over should relate to Highlanders and Klugers in your local market. Now, this second generation 2007 to 2013 Kluger slid comfortably between the smaller RAV4 and the slightly larger but more off-road focused Prado. Here in Australia, it was available in primarily 3 different trim levels, all with the one engine choice, a 3.5 litre petrol V6, and as either a front-wheel drive or an all-wheel drive, both with a 5-speed automatic. And in this video, we'll be focusing on the all-wheel drive variants. Now, this generation of Kluger received this fresh new facelift in 2010, and they got a bunch of extra kit and features as well. And look, we'd love to go over every graphic detail of every variant in this video, but it would just take far too long. But we have gathered all that information and we've put it in our handy ReDriven cheat sheets. Our cheat sheets are invaluable as they provide a full breakdown of the car's model range, its common problems, what you need to look out for before handing over your hard-earned cash, how much of that cash you should be handing over, and so much more. Check it out at redriven.com or in the link below. Okay, does it look good? Subjective stuff first. I think the 2010 facelift did wonders for the Kluger. The old one just looked a bit overly soccer mum for me. Sorry to all the soccer mums out there, but yeah, it just looked a bit overly conservative. This just adds a little bit of excitement to the face. As far as common problems and things to watch out for, the headlights, they are starting to yellow up a little bit, and some of the black plastic, it's going a bit grey. Both of those are easily fixed with some quality car care products, but like the panel gaps all over the car are precise, the paint's really good. Look, honestly, there aren't any common issues with this generation Kluger or Highlander. One thing that you do need to check for are signs that it's been taken off-road, like seriously off-road. They are all-wheel drive, but it's not a full-wheel drive. It's not a serious off-roader. It's definitely a soft-roader. So get underneath, look for any scratches on the rims, scratches on the paintwork, see if it's been seriously taken off-road. I don't know why anyone would take this seriously off-road, but just be careful because they're not built for that. Okay, how's the interior? Well, from a design aspect, it's okay. It's not great, it's not terrible, it exists. Here it is. It is aging from a design aspect, and even as far as what materials are used, like everything's pretty hard and a bit gross to touch, but it's not bad as such. As far as wear and tear goes, we'll start with the buttons. It's typical Toyota. Everything feels absolutely bulletproof and solid, which is fantastic. One interesting thing, okay, this thing is this guy's daily driver. He's got a bucket load of kids and it gets a hell of a workout. I dare say almost abused. But even this champagne colored center console here, like, it's not too scratched up. It's still in pretty good shape. Actually, the interior in general, considering how much abuse this cops, is in great condition up front. There's no major scratches anywhere. It's wearing really well, probably because the plastic is as hard as a rock. Okay, the seating, it's really comfy and cushy. The driving position's quite nice, but this is clearly designed for people of a larger stature because there's no real support. So when you're driving, you tend to slide around everywhere, and that's actually exaggerated by the leather because the leather is quite slippery. But the leather is wearing really pretty nicely. Like, this has got a few years on it, many kilometers. Again, it's been abused, but the leather's wearing really well. Okay, the back seat. I'm 1,880 millimeters tall. This is in my driving position, and look at the space. It's almost like being in a limousine. There's so much room for activities. Love it. As far as wear and tear goes, this thing has normally got heaps of kids in the back and it's wearing really well. Yes, the plastics are really hard, but the leather's wearing nicely. There's some scuff marks down here, but nothing too serious. Excellent. Great back seat. And in the back seat, it's not too bad. There's a decent amount of headroom, a bit of a window, but my legs are pretty squished in here. If you're kids, this would be pretty hilarious and fun. As an adult, this would get pretty tiring in no time. How's the tech? Well, when it comes to the infotainment system, it depends on the year model and which spec Kluger you get. And this particular one, you get this horrible piece of shit. We reviewed a Subaru XV recently, the link is up there somewhere, and it has the same head unit, and it is catastrophically bad. I don't understand how anyone from Toyota allowed this thing to go to market because it's terrible. But besides this piece of crap, what else do you get? Well, here's a voiceover of me telling you. Thanks, mate. Depending on which year model and spec you're looking at, Klugers have been equipped with smart entry and start, heated front seats, rear view cameras without parking sensors, satellite navigation, 3-zone climate control air conditioning for the front and second row seats, Bluetooth phone connectivity, an 8-inch touchscreen and a DVD player on a 9.1-inch screen in the back using the parent-friendly wireless headphones, like anyone still uses DVDs. Big disappointment with the Kluger's infotainment and tech system is it has just the one USB port. Now, this thing is designed to have families and kids are permanently attached to the devices these days, and having only one point to charge, that's a recipe for World War III. Unless, like me, you don't have kids, in which case you probably wouldn't be buying a Kluger in the first place. However, there are 12-volt power outlets, so that kind of makes up for it. Also, the reverse camera screen is tiny. It's like the smallest little screen I've ever seen in a car. The resolution's quite good, maybe because I've just had to cram all the pixels into this tiny, cute little screen. How's the practicality? Well, when the third row seats are down, there's so much space back here. Plus, if you want to put these seats down, there's some little levers there, which are great. But when the third row seats are up, there's not a whole lot of storage in the back. Practicality in the first of the back seats, there are cup holders. That's it. Okay, practicality in the back seat. You've got some good sized door pockets. You've got some air conditioning controls down here. You've got some mat pockets, but check this out. Flip this little guy down here, pull this out, and then pull that lever, pull this lever, slide that back in under the center console, pop that up here, pop this in here, and look at this, cup holders, little tables that flip either way. This is amazing. And it's got armrests. Also, you can just take the whole thing out, get rid of that, and you've got access into the third row seating. Now, if you're looking at a Porsche Cayenne or a Range Rover, to do this, to have the changeover from multiple seats back here to kind of storage, that would cost thousands of dollars. But in this car, it is completely free. Look at that. There's a seat. There's a seat. Okay, hang on, wait. There's a seat hiding in the center console. Genius, Toyota. And practicality up front. Well, you've got a spot for your sunglasses, plus this funky, like kind of curved mirror for your third row passengers. There's a spot here which sort of kind of fits the phone. There's 2 cup holders here, another 2 massive cup holders here that again fits your phone really nicely. It's got a massive bucket right here. It's got a huge glove box. Really good size door pockets, and there's a tiny little cubby hole here. That one's designed specifically for a spare screen for your reverse camera. So what goes wrong with them? Well, surely nothing, it's a Toyota, right? But maybe there is, but I'm not a mechanic. I'm not qualified to tell you, but Jim is.
So what goes wrong with a Toyota Kluger? Not bloody much. I actually own a 2013 Kluger, and in the time I've owned it, not one thing at all has broken on it. In fact, it punches above its weight in so many areas. It tows really well. I know Adam said they're not really meant for off-road, but I have had mine off-road. It's been actually really surprising. My kids are really rough on cars, and my ex was a terrible driver, and it has survived all of that. But they're not perfect. We have seen on quite a few occasions the AC evaporator, this is it, they're located in behind the dash. When they leak, the AC stops working and the entire dash has got to come out to repair it. It's an all-day job and it's really expensive. Besides that, we have heard some reports of some transmission issues and some differential issues and even some software issues. But I've been back through our records, and out of the hundreds of Klugers we've had through here, we've seen none of that.
Is it safe? Well, look, it might not have the immense levels of safety tech that we're now used to in current cars, but yeah, it's still pretty safe. 7 airbags, a 5-star ANCAP safety rating, anti-lock brakes with electronic brake force distribution and brake assist, vehicle stability control with steering assist, traction control and hill start assist control were all standard. Plus, the Kluger has Toyota's vehicle control management system and driver assist technology, which is all just jargon to tell you that, yeah, it's pretty safe. So what's it like to drive? Well, visibility first, excellent. Judging all the extremities and parameters of the car is really easy. Even out the back, there's no major blind spots. Seeing out the back is pretty simple. Yep, visibility, this glass house, top notch. Look, it is a big unit of a thing, and okay, that adds to the sense of security and solidity on the road, and it's not like 200 series Land Cruiser sizes of intimidating in metro areas, but yeah, it doesn't hide its sheer size and weight that easily, and negotiating tight car parking spots or even like back streets, I wouldn't want to do that on a regular basis. Okay, as far as rattles and squeaks and noises and sounds go, it's from 2013, there's well over 100,000 Ks on this. It has had a tough life, but nothing. No weird sounds, no rattles, no squeaks. There's a bit of road noise, but that's probably down to the tyres more than the car itself, but tight as a drum. Okay, this engine, it's silky smooth in the way it responds. It's really refined, which it should be because it's been around for ages and it's in a whole bunch of different Toyota and Lexus models. Plant that right foot, shifts down smoothly and away you go. Look, it's not performance car fast, but it gets up and boogies out on these freeways. It's like for overtaking, great. And around town, look, again, silky smooth response. It shifts really easily. It's really sure-footed. But it is only a 5-speed gearbox, and that's not great for fuel economy, but we'll get to fuel economy later. As far as the steering goes, look, if you're buying a Kluger, I don't think the steering, feel, and the dynamics of how it handles are really high on the list, but it feels fine. It feels like a big Camry. It's kind of a bit vague. When you turn the wheel, it turns the wheels, and you go around a corner. Pretty simple. As far as, say, suspension and handling and ride comfort goes, on a freeway like this, no dramas. It soaks up bumps and joins in the road really easily. When you're on rough country roads or even some rough suburban roads, the age of the suspension is starting to become obvious. It's not harsh, but you can feel a bit of vibration coming through the Kluger's body. And when it comes to handling, like, look, obviously you can't expect, hot hatch levels of agility in this thing, but for me, there's just a little bit too much body roll. There are some other SUVs this size that have their ride handling and dynamics down a bit better than this. It's fine, but yeah, it's a little clumsy and cumbersome. Look, there are more dynamic driving experiences from some of its European rivals, but this thing, it just feels safe and secure and sure-footed all the time. It's not an exciting car to drive, but it was never meant to be an exciting car to drive. It just does the job really well. It's like a really good fridge. It's predictable, it does what you want it to do. Simple, not that exciting, but good. Pricing varies enormously. A 2007 base spec with stacks of kilometres in crap condition with no service history is going to cost you around about $8,000. At the other end of the spectrum, like a top spec Grande with minimal kilometres in fantastic condition and a faultless service history could cost you as much as 35 grand. Toyota claim a fuel usage of 11.6 litres per 100 Ks, but that must be their attempt at comedy because the best we've seen on this test is 14 litres per 100 Ks. Toyota offered their typically underwhelming 3-year 100,000 kilometre warranty, meaning that this generation of Kluger, they're all well and truly out of warranty. And potentially even worse, the servicing is recommended at a very regular every 6 months or 10,000 Ks. However, Toyota do offer a superb support network. And if anything does go wrong with these, which look, it probably won't, parts and labour shouldn't cost you a fortune. So should you buy one? Well, look, if you want a sexy dynamic SUV that drips in sophistication and luxury, no, you should definitely not buy one of these. But if you want a safe, practical, no-nonsense SUV that'll probably outlast humanity, yes, you should get a Kluger. They're bloody brilliant. And which Kluger should you get? Well, look, our pick is an all-wheel drive post-2010 facelifted KXS, as they offer excellent value for money. And the top-spec Grande, it only really offers extra technology that is now well and truly out of date. We'd also avoid the front-wheel drive variants, as they can struggle to put their power to the ground, and an all-wheel drive just makes more sense in an SUV. Look, the Kluger's kind of like buying a fridge, and like a quality fridge, these things are just going to keep humming along for years, keeping the things that you love safe, secure, and crispy fresh. They might be bloody boring, but they're excellent. Thank you so much for watching, guys. We really appreciate it. And what did you think of the Kluger? Let us know in the comments section below. And hey, can you do us a favor and hit those like, subscribe, and bell icon buttons? And hey, go and follow us on all the socials as well. See you next time. This is a big unit of a car, but there we go. Now, before we get deep into the Kluger, can you, here we go, probably outlast all of humanity, then yes, get a Kluger. They're fucking, come on. Toyota offered Toyota offered their fucking typically underwhelming, Toyota, come on, look at this.